Have you ever heard a native English speaker say, "We should grab coffee sometime," and then wondered why they never actually called you?
Or maybe someone said, "That's interesting," and you felt like they didn't really think it was interesting at all?
You're not imagining things. Native speakers almost never say exactly what they mean. And today, we're going to reveal why this happens and how you can understand the real message behind their words.
This is something that confuses English learners all the time. You study grammar, you learn vocabulary, but then real conversations feel like a secret code.
Haha, exactly. Because in real English, "I'll think about it" usually means no, and no offense, but definitely means they're about to offend you.
So if you've ever felt confused when talking to native speakers, even though you understood every single word they said, this episode is for you.
By the end of today's lesson, you'll understand the hidden meanings behind common English phrases. You'll know when someone is actually agreeing with you and when they're politely disagreeing.
You'll also learn how to use these indirect phrases yourself so you can sound more natural and native-like in your conversations.
Now, here's my question for you. Have you ever been confused by what a native speaker said? Maybe they said one thing, but you felt like they meant something else? Drop a comment and tell us what happened.
And if you want to truly understand real English, not just textbook English, make sure you're subscribed to Simple English Talks. We teach you how English really works in daily life.
All right, let's start with the biggest question. Why do native speakers do this? Why don't they just say what they mean?
Well, it all comes down to one word: politeness. In English-speaking cultures, especially American and British culture, being direct can sometimes feel rude or aggressive. So we use indirect language to soften our message and protect people's feelings.
Let's start with the most confusing category: polite rejections. These are phrases that sound positive or neutral, but actually mean no.
The classic example is, "I'll think about it." When someone says this, they're almost never going to think about it. What they really mean is, "No, but I don't want to say no directly."
Right. If someone was actually interested, they'd say, "Yes, let me check my schedule." Or, "That sounds great. When were you thinking?" But, "I'll think about it" is a soft rejection.
Here's another one. "That sounds interesting." Notice the word sounds. When someone says something sounds good or sounds interesting, they're keeping distance from it.
Compare these two responses. Imagine you invite someone to an event. Response 1. "Oh wow, that sounds really interesting." Response 2. "Oh wow, I'd love to come. What time?"
See the difference? The first one is polite interest but no commitment. The second one is genuine enthusiasm.
What about, "We should hang out sometime," or "We should get together soon"? I used to think this was a real invitation.
This one confuses so many English learners. "We should hang out sometime" is what we call a polite expression of friendliness. It's not an actual plan.
If someone really wants to make plans, they'll suggest a specific time. "Are you free this Saturday?" Or, "Want to grab lunch next week?" Specifics mean they're serious.
But sometime, or soon, without a specific day, that's just being friendly, not making actual plans.
Another huge one is, "I'm pretty busy right now." This is a polite way of saying, "I don't want to do this," or "I don't have time for this."
And its cousin phrase, "Things are crazy at work right now." Same meaning. It's a soft no.
Now, can someone say these phrases and actually mean them literally? Sure, sometimes people really are busy, but context matters.
If you ask someone to hang out and they say, "I'm really busy right now," but they don't suggest an alternative time, that's a polite rejection.
But if they say, "I'm really busy this week, but I'm free next Tuesday," does that work? That's genuine.
Here's one more that's super common: maybe, or probably. When these words come without enthusiasm, they usually mean unlikely, or "I'm not committed to this."
"Can you come to my party?" Maybe, with no follow-up question, means they probably won't come.
But maybe, What time does it start shows real interest.
I want you to think about conversations you've had in English. Has anyone ever said one of these phrases to you? Looking back now, do you think they were politely rejecting something? Write in the comments.
The key to understanding polite rejections is looking for specifics. Vague language equals soft no. Specific questions and details equal genuine interest.
Now, let's talk about disagreements. Native speakers almost never say, "You're wrong," or "I disagree," directly. Instead, we use softening phrases.
The most common one is, "I see what you're saying, but..." Everything before the word "but" is just politeness. The real message comes after "but."
So if I say, "I see what you're saying, but I think there might be another way to look at this," I'm actually disagreeing with you. I'm just doing it politely.
Another version is, "That's one way to look at it." This sounds neutral, right? But it actually means, "I don't agree with your perspective."
If someone says, "That's one way to look at it," they're implying there are other ways, better ways, to see the situation.
Here's a phrase that sounds really positive but actually isn't. Interesting point. When someone says this in a meeting or discussion, they're usually disagreeing.
It's like saying, "I heard what you said, but I'm not going to do anything with that information."
Compare it to "great point" or "I love that idea." Those show real agreement. Interesting point is diplomatic disagreement.
What about, "I'm not sure about that"? This one's pretty clear, right?
You'd think so, but it's softer than it seems. "I'm not sure about that" usually means, "I definitely don't think that's right, but I'm being polite."
If someone was genuinely unsure, they'd ask questions. I'm not sure. Can you explain more?" But just, "I'm not sure about that," and then moving on? That's disagreement.
Here's one that drives me crazy. "To be honest," or "to be frank." Why do these phrases exist? Aren't we always supposed to be honest?
Haha, right. But when someone says, "To be honest," they're about to say something you might not want to hear. It's a warning signal.
To be honest, I don't think this is working. To be frank, I expected something different. These are softened criticisms.
The phrase, "to be honest," creates a little buffer before the difficult truth.
Now here's a really sneaky one. Sure versus yes, or definitely.
Oh, this is so subtle. Sure can mean yes, but it's often an unenthusiastic yes.
Can you help me move this weekend? Sure. That sure might mean, I don't really want to, but I'll do it.
But definitely, or absolutely, or I'd love to, those show genuine willingness.
The energy and enthusiasm behind the word tells you the real meaning.
Another disagreement phrase is, "I hear you, but." It's very similar to, "I see what you're saying, but."
I hear you acknowledges that the person spoke, but it doesn't mean you agree with them.
Sometimes people will even say, "You're not wrong, but," which is such a weird phrase. It sounds like agreement, but it's actually disagreement.
You're not wrong, but means, technically you have a point, however I still disagree with your conclusion.
Native speakers use all these phrases to avoid direct conflict. We want to disagree without making the other person feel attacked or stupid.
In many cultures, direct disagreement is normal and not rude. But in English-speaking cultures, especially at work or with people you don't know well, these softening phrases are expected.
Think about your own language. Do you have indirect ways of disagreeing, or is direct disagreement more acceptable? Let us know in the comments. I'm really curious about this.
Understanding these softened disagreements will help you so much in work meetings, friendly debates, and everyday conversations.
Okay, this next category is probably the trickiest. Hidden criticism. These are compliments that aren't really compliments.
The most famous example is, "That's interesting. We talked about this earlier, but let's go deeper."
When someone sees your work, your idea, or your creation and says, "That's interesting," they usually don't like it, but don't want to say so directly.
If they loved it, they'd say, "This is amazing," or "I love this," or Great job. But interesting is neutral language that hides a negative opinion.
Here's another one. It's fine. Oh, when someone says something is fine, it's definitely not fine.
Haha, how's the food? It's fine. That means it's disappointing, or just okay at best.
How do I look? You look fine. That's not the compliment you were hoping for.
Fine is the most damaging word in English. It sounds okay, but it's actually expressing dissatisfaction.
What about, it's not my style, or it's not for me? These sound like personal preferences, right?
They are, but they're also polite ways of saying, I don't like this. The speaker is making it about themselves to avoid directly criticizing the thing.
Instead of saying, this shirt is ugly, they say, it's not really my style. It's softer.
Here's one that sounds really positive. Good effort, or you tried really hard.
Oh no, these are brutal. When someone compliments your effort instead of your results, they're saying the results weren't good.
Good effort means, the outcome wasn't great, but I appreciate that you tried.
Teachers use this one a lot with students. I can see you worked really hard on this. Often comes before constructive criticism.
Another hidden criticism is, it's different. When someone says your haircut, your outfit, or your idea is different, they usually mean they don't like it.
Different is code for unexpected and not in a good way.
If they liked it, they'd use positive words like unique, or creative, or cool, but just different? That's polite criticism.
What about bless your heart? This is especially an American Southern phrase.
Oh, bless your heart can be sweet, but it's often condescending. It can mean you're so naive, or that was foolish, but I feel sorry for you.
It depends on tone and context, but yeah, it's frequently a veiled insult wrapped in sweet-sounding words.
Here's another workplace favorite. Per my last email. Have you heard this one?
This one isn't even hidden. Per my last email means, I already told you this, why aren't you paying attention?
It sounds professional, but it's definitely expressing frustration.
As I mentioned before, is similar. It sounds polite, but the subtext is, I already said this, please listen this time.
Now, one phrase that confuses learners is, no offense, but...
If someone starts a sentence with no offense, they're absolutely about to say something offensive.
No offense, but your idea won't work. No offense, but that outfit doesn't suit you.
The phrase no offense doesn't actually prevent offense, it just warns you that criticism is coming.
Similarly, don't take this the wrong way, but means you're probably going to take it the wrong way.
These warning phrases are the speaker's way of trying to soften the blow, but they know what they're about to say is harsh.
The key with all hidden criticism is to listen to what's not being said. If someone doesn't use clearly positive words, they're probably not feeling positive.
Have you ever received a compliment that didn't feel like a compliment? Share your experience in the comments.
Understanding hidden criticism will save you from misunderstanding situations and help you read between the lines in English conversations.
All right, let's talk about the mistakes learners make when trying to understand or use indirect English.
The biggest mistake is taking everything literally. If you treat every English phrase as exactly what the words mean, you'll misunderstand a lot of conversations.
For example, mistake number 1, thinking let's do lunch sometime, is an actual invitation.
Wrong. Unless there's a specific time mentioned, sometime usually means never. It's just a friendly expression.
The correct understanding is vague time words equal vague intentions. Specific times equal real plans.
Mistake number 2. Responding to hidden criticism as if it's a real compliment.
Imagine your boss says, interesting approach about your project, and you respond with, thank you so much. I'm so glad you love it.
Oh no, your boss probably didn't love it. Interesting was diplomatic language, not praise.
The better response would be to ask for clarification. Thanks. Do you have any suggestions for how I could improve it?
That shows you're open to feedback and you understand the subtext.
Mistake number 3. Using I disagree or you're wrong too directly, especially at work or with people you don't know well.
Even if you're right, being too direct can make people defensive or upset.
Instead of I disagree, try I see your point, but I have a different perspective, or that's one way to look at it, but have you considered?
These softer phrases make the same point, but keep the conversation friendly.
Mistake number 4. Not paying attention to tone and enthusiasm level.
Remember, it's not just about the words. How someone says something matters just as much.
A flat, unenthusiastic sure is very different from an excited sure.
And interesting, with a smile and follow-up questions, is different from interesting and then silence.
Listen to the energy behind the words, not just the words themselves.
Mistake number 5. Thinking all cultures communicate the same way.
Some cultures value direct communication. Some value indirect communication. Neither is better or worse. They're just different.
English-speaking cultures, especially American and British, tend to use a lot of indirect communication to maintain politeness.
But if you come from a culture where direct communication is normal, English might feel fake or dishonest at first.
It's not fake, it's just a different communication style. Understanding this will help you not take things personally.
The important thing is recognizing that these phrases exist and knowing how to interpret them.
You don't have to love this communication style, but understanding it will make your English conversations much easier.
And honestly, making mistakes with this stuff is completely normal. Native speakers misunderstand each other all the time too.
Right. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is awareness. Once you know these patterns exist, you'll start noticing them everywhere.
Let's practice. I'll give you a phrase, and you think about what it really means. Ready?
Situation 1. You ask your coworker if they want to join your project team. They respond, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you."
What does this probably mean? Real interest or polite rejection?
If they don't actually get back to you within a day or two, it's a polite rejection. If they genuinely check and respond with specific availability, it's real interest.
The key is whether they actually follow through.
Situation 2. You show your friend your new apartment, and they say, "Wow, it's cozy."
Cozy can mean two things. It can be genuinely positive, meaning warm and comfortable, but it can also be a polite way of saying small.
Exactly. You have to read their tone and face. Genuine smile and enthusiasm. Real compliment. Slight pause before cozy. They think it's tiny.
Situation 3. Your manager says about your presentation, you clearly put a lot of work into this.
Uh-oh. Complimenting the effort, not the results. This probably means the presentation wasn't great, but they appreciate that you tried.
Right. A better response would have been, "Great presentation," or "This is excellent work."
Situation 4. You suggest a restaurant, and your friend says, "Sure, that works."
This is mild enthusiasm. They'll go, but it's not their first choice. Compare it to, "Oh, perfect, I love that place," which shows real excitement.
That works, and sure, are compliance, not enthusiasm.
Situation 5. Someone says about your idea, "I see where you're going with that."
This is diplomatic. They understand your thinking, but they don't necessarily agree with it.
If they loved your idea, they'd say so directly. This phrase is neutral to slightly negative.
Now your turn. Think of a recent conversation you had in English. Can you identify any indirect language? Try to figure out what the person really meant.
And here's a challenge. Next time you need to disagree with someone in English, try using one of these soft phrases instead of saying, "I disagree," directly.
Practice makes perfect. The more you notice these patterns, the more natural they'll become for you.
Wow, we covered so much today. Let's quickly review the 3 main categories of indirect English.
First, we learned about polite rejections. Phrases like, "I'll think about it," "We should hang out sometime," and "I'm pretty busy right now" usually mean no, but said nicely.
Second, we talked about softened disagreements. I see what you're saying, but, and, that's interesting, and, I'm not sure about that, are all ways to disagree without being harsh.
And third, we explored hidden criticism. It's fine, good effort, it's different, and that's interesting, can all be polite ways of expressing disappointment or dislike.
The biggest lesson? Listen for what's not being said. Pay attention to specifics, enthusiasm levels, and follow through.
Vague language usually means vague commitment. Specific language means genuine interest.
Now we have a question for you. Knowing all this, do you think indirect communication is good or bad? Do you prefer direct or indirect styles?
There's no right answer. Different cultures have different styles, and both work. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
And if this episode helped you understand real English better, please hit that like button and share it with other English learners. Subscribe to Simple English Talks so you don't miss our next episode.
Remember, understanding indirect language isn't about judging whether it's right or wrong. It's about communication success.
When you understand these hidden meanings, you'll feel more confident in conversations. You won't be confused when someone's words don't match their intentions.
And you'll be able to use these phrases yourself to sound more natural and native-like.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and don't be afraid to ask for clarification when you're unsure.
Thanks so much for learning with us today. We'll see you next time on Simple English Talks.